welcome to another episode of My Marriage Mindset. I think this is our third week, and so far, I can say that the quality of our conversations, the quality of our discussion, what we're deliberating on, is actually like mind blowing. And to think that everything here is free, like we're doing it for free. I want to especially thank Weddings on Budget for this platform where we can actually like discuss these things, because I personally believe that no couple or intending couple should go through the wedding planning process alone. So as we continue, if you have questions, just drop them in the comment section. I will be sure to answer all of your questions as much as time would permit us. And today we have a very interesting topic, and we have capable and experienced vendors that would help us trash it out. Like, what to know, what are we supposed to do when we are booking wedding vendors? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? So I'll just quickly go in to introduce our vendors. We have Yvonne. Yvonne, you're welcome. Can you please introduce yourself briefly?
Hi everyone, my name is Yvonne of Edible Treats, and I make cakes and treats for all occasions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. You're very welcome. Matilda, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Matilda Nyako. I'm into bridal accessories, fascinators, bouquet, and many others.
Wow. So you're the one that makes us look beautiful on our wedding day. Yay! Okay, so we'll move on to our third panelist for today. Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello, everyone.
Elizabeth.
My name is Elizabeth, CEO of Lyzz Event Consult. I'm into wedding planning and decoration as well. Welcome to meet you all.
So while we continue, I'll just also introduce myself. My name is Dara, and I am a wedding planner, an event planner, and I'm currently based in Nigeria. Okay, so as we go on, we said that our topic today is booking your wedding vendors. What are the do's and then what are the don'ts? So I'll start with Elizabeth. So just even tell us who are those we categorize as wedding vendors. So if you say, oh, I'm a wedding vendor, or a bride comes and say, oh, I've booked a particular wedding vendor. What is a vendor like? Who are vendors?
Okay. Vendors are basically people who matter to your big day. It varies from the decorators to the MCs to your cake to your wedding gown, your rings, your bouquet, bridal fan, fascinators, whatever you want to wear on your traditional marriage day, whether asiobi, whether lace, kente, what have you. All these people who are into these products serves as vendors to your occasion.
Yvonne, can you tell us what a couple should look out for before they even decide that, oh, this is the vendor we are going for? What would you advise?
Okay, so most especially, one thing a couple should always look out for before booking a vendor is to know their works and know their capabilities. Most often, some vendors have their specialization in what they are good at and what they are not so good at. So you should know if the vendor fits your plan, your criteria, or your theme for your event. You should know the vendor's works. You should have seen their works. Now, social media has made it very easy for us to access vendors' works without having to meet them in person. So you can see their works on various social media platforms, and you can also ask for reviews from people who have patronized them to ask about how their services were and if they would recommend their services. That is the first thing you should look out for. You don't want to book a vendor whose work may seem so glamorous or classy, and you'll be disappointed on your big day. Your big day comes once in a lifetime, so you should always look out for the vendor's handiwork or the vendor's work before you even decide on booking the person.
Okay, thank you so much, Yvonne. And you said one thing that really stood out to me, and that is, does this vendor suit my event? I know that we have, like, when we're talking about our big day, you have different ideas. Different people have different ways their event is supposed to go. And one thing you have to look out for is, in as much as you have like many quality vendors, do they suit your wedding, so that at the end of the day you want to get the best out of every vendor that is booked? So thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you so much for that point. So we'll now move on to, okay, fine. Maybe now I have finally decided, or maybe I'm still in the process of deciding which vendor I want to select, but I think I've been able to narrow it down to, say, three. And we now have to talk about, okay, what is my budget? So if you're looking at, when we're talking about budget for booking vendors, do you advise that, say, we go for something below our budget, or maybe there's a vendor that, oh, I've assessed that, oh, this vendor suits the type of wedding that I want? And should I overly negotiate with that vendor? Say the vendor's price is higher above my budget, and maybe the vendor says, you know what, I can remove some things to give you what you want. Should I go with that, or I should look for a vendor that is within my budget?
So we're
Yeah,
talking about
go
if
ahead.
your budget suits the vendor's price quote, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it comes to budgeting, for my advice when it comes to my clients, I do advise that whenever you are looking for a vendor, the person should be within your class ranges. At times, you might plead with a vendor whose price is overwhelmingly above your budget to do something for you. And then, unfortunately, on the day, what you receive might not be what you were bargaining for. And so, for my advice, I would plead you go with what you can afford. Come to a negotiation table whereby you both agree that this is exactly what I want. And so, I'm paying to receive this item exactly as it is. Anything more or anything less will not be part of the contract agreed.
Let's talk about pricing, right? So,
Okay.
okay, Elizabeth has already said that we should stay within our budget class. And then, so what do you advise when we're looking at, oh, I want to make payments, or I know that vendors will typically ask for a deposit, which commits a client or the couple to that vendor. It commits on, there's commitment on both ends, because money has been passed from one hand to another. So you're sure that, oh, this vendor is supposed to provide the service that I paid for or made a deposit for. So in terms of deposits, um, what percentage do you advise? So you're looking to say deposit for cake. What typically, what percentage of the total amount would you advise couples to
Okay.
deposit? What is a good percentage for the initial
So
deposit?
with regards to payments, one thing I normally encourage people to do is to make a deposit to book their day. Most vendors get a lot of options, and once there's no commitment on the part of the client, it's easier for the vendor to overlook your day and go in for the next available client who may seem serious. Sometimes it's not that the client is even serious, but the fact that the client has made a commitment has tied the vendor down. Personally, for me, I take a deposit of between 50 to 70%, depending on the kind of cake you want, and also looking at certain other factors. I'm sure the percentage varies from vendor to vendor and also varies from the type of service you are looking out for. But because cake has to do with perishables and price keeps escalating each day, you would need to prepare ahead of time. If the event is in a month or a year, I normally encourage the clients to make payments, at least make a deposit of 10 to 20% because prices could go up. So that when the time is getting closer, we can review the prices and so that we are all on the same level. Most often than not, some people would want to book their vendor without making any form of commitment. They just want to say, okay, I'll use you for my event next 2 years. And you don't even know what will probably happen next 2 years. But if you have made a
Yeah.
commitment to tie down the vendor, in case of any uncertainty, you could hold the vendor accountable. And most often,
Yeah.
too, we should always ask for an invoice and we should try to make sure that everything has been signed and we read the terms and conditions of vendor. The terms and conditions of each vendor varies. So one of the terms and conditions I personally have as a cake vendor is I do not deliver my cakes via bags. And that is my terms and condition. That is my policy. So once you come to even make an inquiry and send you my price list, it is attached to the price list. So you realize that I mean, there's no compromise when it comes to that. It's either you are all in or you are all out. I mean, there's no middle ground. I can't compromise because once the cake gets messed up or is mad, you might hold me accountable and let me refund or redo another cake for you, which is going to cost me and you might not be thinking of the implications. You are trying to think of saving costs. So let me use a bike because a bike is less expensive than maybe an Uber. But in the long run, we are looking at making each other happy. I want you to receive your cake in a good shape, and I also want you to enjoy the cake. And you are going to hold me accountable if anything gets happens to your cake. So we have to all agree that this is the mode of transport we are going to use. So we should always sign an agreement with the client so that in case situations gets mad and we have to take it to the court of law, what is going to hold us accountable is the agreement we signed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. You know, one of the things that I picked from what you said is that basically your vendors are looking out for your interest. So when you are contacting a vendor, understand that because they are professionals and because they understand the magnitude of what it means to actually get married. Like you want that your wedding day to be perfect and they are all in for you. So when they give advice, it's usually best to take those advice on board. So for example, you may feel like, oh, I'm saving costs here, but you may actually be losing more and it becomes a case of say penny wise, pound foolish. Thank you so much, Yvonne. So we're moving on, and we'll just talk about payment plan. From what Yvonne has actually said, she mentioned something about depending on the timeline for the wedding at the time of booking. There's something like you have like a payment plan. So the payment plan advises on when there should be payment, or can I break this down? Can I pay in installments? Can I pay do I have to pay everything at once? And so I'll just let Elizabeth talk more about the payment plan. So when we're looking at what payment plan is the best. So I am a bride, I'm getting married, say in 6 months. What payment plan? I've gotten different offers from vendors. What payment plan do you think is best for me? What should I be looking out for?
Okay. So checking the vendors, you need to be very careful, as I said earlier. You are dealing with a particular budget. Somebody might be like, oh, this is not the actual budget I want to work with, but is willing to top up to get any kind of dream wedding he or she is planning. But then if you look at your means of income and there's no way you can get above what you have saved, you just need to work within your budget. And so this goes into the kind of vendors you have to select for your event. Let's say you are planning everything within $10,000. from everything you need in the marriage, which consists of the two of you, everything inclusive, $10,000. And a cake alone you want to order, and let's say it's giving you like 5,000 US dollars. That is almost like half of your budget. Secondly, when it comes to timelines to vendors, it varies, as Sister Yvonne earlier mentioned. It varies. And so someone can start planning, let's say, in 6 months, as you mentioned earlier. You'll be planning with a person, and then let's say in month one, we considered some vendors. But alongside getting to month three, we decided to pay. But then we got a new vendor online who is now giving us a cool deal. Monies paid are not always and easily refunded. And so before you even decide to make any payment to any vendor, as Yvonne said, you should make sure you understand the terms and conditions related to whatever business you are encountering in. Because let's say you've paid money to me as a decorator for your job, and then you come to tell me that, madam, sorry, um, I want to withdraw my services with you because probably some flimsy excuses. Money's paid and not refunded. And even if it has to be refunded, there has to be so many terms and conditions of which you will not even get the full amount you paid, but maybe a percentage depending on the situation. Because some vendors will have to buy things, just like Yvonne said. And so when the time and things that are perishable probably will need early attention. But some of us whose things are not actually perishable probably can give you a cool timeline. Let's say you have 6 months and then you finalize to do the event with edible treats. Fine, since that is 6 months, edible treats can decide that, okay, your date is on so and so date, which happens at the end of the 6 months. And so spread the cost, give me 40% for the first month, and then pay the remaining in installments. But make sure that by 2 weeks or 3 weeks to your event, you are done with paying. But the key thing is that not every vendor would give that ultimatum. Some people don't even take installments at all. It's just a two-time payment, 50-50, and it ends there. So make sure that your financial strength and then whatever you are putting in is ready for it. Some people can oblige to go with a client who charges higher because he or she is professional. Along the line, the person realizes that this vendor is taking so much of my income, and I think I have other things on the list still yet to check out. And so at that point, the person would want you to work for him or her on credit, which is not done. And then you also feel as a client that I've paid, let's say, almost 70% of the money to this vendor, and I'm pleading with the person that I'm cash stripped or I'm handicapped a bit, so the person should help me. It doesn't work that way. So once you commit and decide to work with a particular vendor, be ready and know that whatever the terms and conditions are, you are actually obeying it to the letter. Thank you.
So yeah, we're taking last words, and we'll just start with Elizabeth. Any last words for us?
Okay. Um, I want to first thank everybody for joining in this session. I think we would love to have more sessions like this to help our would-be couples and our about to get wed couples so that they can have the right of vendors to choose from, the right attitude to know which vendor is best or not, and also let us try and work within our budget. As Yvonne said, it's not everybody nowadays. I even believe some of the followers and people are trying to, hack the system. Somebody can have about, 1,000 followers. Someone who has about 100. But as Yvonne said, your goodwill. Let people do blind checks on your vendors for you. I equally had a similar, challenge with one of my clients. I planned their wedding for. The person was like, oh, due to family relations, he or she wanted to pick a particular vendor for her decorations. When I got to the place, I had to go bring things from home to come and compliment because we were trying to, I mean, give a bad name to the event house. But then it's all part of it. So I'll plead, as we all said, wedding vendors are key in every marriage. But some people have the perception that perhaps planners or wedding coordinators are expensive to book. Don't let perception always drive your intentions. Give a try. Somebody might be willing to work for you, regardless of what you think you have to afford. So let's just always give a try. I mean, let's not always be afraid. Oh, I learned wedding vendors. They are wedding planners. You can't contact them. They are too expensive. Yes, they are. But then we are always available to assist you, depending on how you also approach. We are always there to help. My little advice, let us work within budget. When it comes to wedding gowns, there are different body sizes and the suiting gowns that goes to match. Somebody will be a plus size person, the person wants to wear something
Thank
else.
you so
Somebody
much,
will
Elizabeth.
you're
Thank you.
welcome, dear.
I know you are very passionate, and we can actually like have this conversation till forever, and there would always
Yeah.
be something sensible and of great value for you to tell us. But thank you so much, Elizabeth. Yvonne, please,
Yeah.
any last
Okay.
words, parting words
Um,
for us?
Okay, so what I want to say to everyone out there, whether you're planning your wedding or your event, vendors are really important, and you should also know what it's your budget and what vendor works for you. Some people naturally vibe very well with other people. Some people too like to be quiet. So try and approach the person. You might not know, perhaps you could even learn from your vendor. Your vendor could even provide lots of alternatives for you. And hey, it's your big day, so even if you have the money and you want to splurge, go out all out. Don't let anyone stop you from enjoying and having fun. But if you think that you're on a budget, please just do what works for you. After all, it's your day. A week down the line, nobody will even remember the shoes or the clothes you wore. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. I would also like to advise that we share, because we actually share a lot of value on this platform every Friday, 8 p.m. We can share this link with your friends. You have people that are getting married, or even sometimes, you can have family members, maybe they're already disturbing you. Oh, book this vendor, it must be this person. You can send them a link of this and let them watch it, because they don't know better. That's why they're probably insisting on a particular person. But then when they watch it, they are, oh, okay, now I have more information, and making a decision would be easier. So thank you everyone for joining once again. We'll meet next week, Friday, by 8 p.m., where we would have another interesting topic. Like, next week's topic is very, very hot and sweet. So you don't want to miss that. You also want to make sure that you get your friends to join. You tell everybody that you know that is getting married. So you just send them the link. Say, this meeting, you must not miss it. So thank you everyone, and we'll see you
Thank
again
you.
next week, Friday. My name
Thank
is
you.
Dara of Eventigo, and thank you. Be good, be safe till next week.